Hello everyone and welcome to iQuanta. IIM Ahmedabad ने अपने 2024 के converts result out कर दिए हैं and today we have with us Rishav Banerjee who is one of the iQuanta converts. IIM Ahmedabad convert किया है इन्होंने. Rishav was a part of our CAT and IIM ABC batch and in his previous attempt he scored 95 percentile and from there he has now come to 99.83 percentile. So Rishav, your journey from converting IIM Sambalpur to now converting IIM Ahmedabad, what would you say on this?
Firstly, thank you for inviting me here and for this session organized. I would just like to go back slightly backwards before IIM Sambalpur to 2020 when I first started the decision to go ahead for MBA and CAT. So, but that year, despite my preparation, I didn't give the CAT. I joined my job around December 2020 only and decided to work for 2 years first and then gave my shot at CAT 2022. In CAT 2022, I ended up at 95.6 percentile. I think it was because it was the first attempt and also the exam in a way is unpredictable. You never know which section might fall apart and the entire exam may go haywire because of that. But a structured approach is important. And I think that was the biggest difference between the preparation of CAT 2022 and 2023, following the classes religiously. Maybe not the live recorded live classes always, but at least making sure to utilize the recorded lectures and following the course flow of the ABC batch as well. That was, I think, the biggest difference between my 2022 and 23 preparation because the syllabus was same. There was nothing which was majorly changed, but I think the sticking to the main thing of following how the course goes on and of course a rigorous mix of both practice, mocks and revision. That is the journey, I will say, and then there were various ups and downs. I gave my best shot in 22 as well. Unfortunately, it was not my year, but this year it was better. Things turned out to be good and I had calls from all the IIMs. The remaining results are pending now, but I am definitely looking forward to joining Ahmedabad itself. Though I'll first like to thank the entire iQuanta community because of creating a group which fosters a very positive environment of motivation and learning, because both are important.
Definitely.
And in the group, we have different types of discussions apart from CAT preparation as well, which I think is very refreshing. And as a result of which, I think iQuanta has been a fundamental part of the journey from 2020 to 2023, and it actually shaped the entire path. So I am really thankful to both the classes and the community of CAT preparation iQuanta for the whatever I have achieved at this point of time, apart from my personal friends and family.
So Rishav, you know, it takes a lot of courage to take that leap of faith when you don't know actually कि आपने जैसे last year attempt दिया आपको 95 percentile आया. You also converted one of the IIMs.
Yes.
So काफी uncertainties रहती हैं कि next year क्या पता इससे भी कम आ जाए. So how did you do it? Like how did you gather the courage to take the leap of faith?
I'll answer this first from a very personal front. So I knew I had put in my best, but the results I felt was not what I completely deserved. And I was in my job and it was not like I was not enjoying my job. I was also doing that, and I have always felt that my job is a part of the MBA process. Although this varies candidate to candidate and job experience is something people can be very different from people to people in their personal perspectives. But in my case, I have always felt that job is a path towards the MBA only. You better understand how actually the corporate works through your job. So I thought it's better I continue my job and then go ahead for another attempt. I was not sure in 2022 as well when I left IIM Sambalpur that I'll definitely convert something of ABC next year. But I definitely wanted to make sure that since I have given my best attempt, I want to maximize the output of that. And I was confident of the course curriculum of iQuanta as well. I just made a repeat. It was nothing much different. It was batch 2 in 2022. This time I knew that I have covered most of the syllabus, and it's not that I have to learn from the basics again, but more of the methodology and practice, mocks, and everything combined. That's what I focused on in 2023, and I'll rather not put it as a separate journey of 22 and 23, but a continuous whole process where you learn from the mistakes or maybe the management you did wrong in the initial year, so that despite your best efforts, the results were not as desired. But I think the wait was worth, and again, thanks to the curriculum structure and everything, which iQuanta designed very well for, at least for working professionals, I'll definitely say it's one of the very well designed curriculums, because you have the freedom to take the classes anytime you want. Maybe I was in a sales and marketing job, which sometimes there are issues of managing time. You may have to go to the field sometimes even on Saturdays. But then managing that was only possible because the course was structured online and maintained so well. Whenever we wanted, we can attempt any classes. Maybe I can attempt time and distance in the morning and some verbal ability questions in the evening as well. So that is extremely helpful as a working professional aspirant in the journey. So I think that sums up the whole process in a way.
Yeah. So, like apart from IIM Ahmedabad, what all B school interviews did you take, and which one was the most grilling of all?
So through my CAT, I had calls from all the IIMs. I had a call from FMS. Apart from that, I also had calls from SPJN and other institutions like IIM Shillong. I had a Shillong call, even a CAP call, because I had felt this was in a way my last attempt at MBA from India. In case things wouldn't have worked out, I may have had to go plan for an MBA abroad, because I would have been on the wrong side of the work experience after this attempt. So I made sure that I give everything to it. And coming back to the question, which was the most grilling interview? So I personally felt that Ahmedabad and Lucknow both were grilling, but overall, maybe in Lucknow they were trying to grill a little more. Maybe it was more of a pressure interview, which they were trying to check the personality and how the person behaves under pressure. But yeah, so Lucknow was for me the most grilling interview, but Ahmedabad was not much behind in that aspect as well.
So सबसे ज़्यादा tough question क्या पूछा गया था आपसे IIMA के interview में?
So I'll not tell about a question, but a situation. So there is an analytical writing test in Ahmedabad, and I had refuted the argument which was given, and that argument was supposedly given by a biologist who has a Nobel Prize in that field. So when I entered the interview room, I was greeted by that a mechanical engineer from Jadavpur University feels he knows more than a biologist in his field. So when you are entering that particular interview on D-Day, and it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, because end of the day 60% of the weightage is on AWT and personal interview. Even if you had a 100 percentile in CAT, if on that day you perform badly, things may not turn out as you wish. So that was definitely a pressure moment, and that was the first of the ABC calls I had as well. So that's how the entire conversation started. So I tried to keep myself calm in the interview. I said to the panelists that I thanked them for the feedback, but I did try to defend myself. That was a very difficult moment, I'll say. Apart from that, the interview was mostly centered on my interests. Profile, of course, work experience, and even partly from my undergrads from mechanical engineering. It was more centered around my interests in mostly in politics, West Bengal politics and related questions. I think they were mostly checking attitude and personality, and also to some extent certain knowledge of basics of polity and how current affairs also. But the toughest part of the interview was actually the start of the interview, because you enter the interview with some sort of thought process that maybe these are the questions which may come up with my profile or work ex or undergrads, and what is thrown at you is how do you more than a Nobel Prize winner biologist being a mechanical engineer?
Right.
So that was a challenging part, at least for sure. And I think driving that is also important. I think the profs want to see how well we are behaving under different situations.
Yeah, right. So can you also elaborate a bit on your profile
So
and your sectional scores of
Okay.
CAT?
So, coming to my profile, I did my 10th and 12th both from state board, and I scored 94 percentage and 95 percentage in 10th and 12th respectively in my state boards. I did my mechanical engineering from Jadavpur University, and I had a decent grade. I'll not say the topper or anything, but I had 8.9 CGPA. And along with that, I handled various positions of responsibility in college as well. So I was the class representative and placement coordinator. Apart from that, I did my internship as well as further my job at Saint Gobain. Amazing company, I must say, at least a personal feedback. It was an amazing journey for me at Saint Gobain. And for the last almost 2.5-3 years, I am in sales and marketing, handling high performance glass division currently in Pune. Previously, I was based out of Gujarat and started my journey in Chennai. So I've traveled a lot also across the process. And I think, all of these were integral parts of the journey towards MBA. I think the more we learn across our experience, I personally feel it will enrich my understanding before the classroom of MBA maybe. And coming to the sectional percentiles.
Yeah.
So my overall percentile was 99.83. Sectionally also, I feel it was quite balanced, because in verbal ability, I had 98.92 percentile. In LRDI, it was 99.71, which was the biggest improvement from CAT 2022. I had 60 percentile in CAT 2022 LRDI. And in quants, I ended up at 98.83 percentile, and overall was 99.83. So I think that is very important, because if we do very well in one section as well and even end up at something like 99.7 plus, if one of our sectionals don't clear the cutoff of maybe any of the B schools we are planning to go for, the result will be very dissatisfying, because at least not clearing the entire cutoff is one thing, and missing out because of one sectional is even more sadder. I personally feel that. So it is very important to balance all the sections in the process of preparation. Someone might be weak in VARC, someone's strong zone might be quants or even LRDI, but then it is important to focus on each section. I am from an engineering background, so in a way quants should be my strong zone. But in the CAT examination, if I consider my scaled score was lowest for quants, and the percentile, sectional percentile was also lowest for quants, although it was balanced all over. But so it is something you can never predict, and always must focus on preparing every section very religiously and covering the syllabus, because we never know from which part of that section questions might be coming. If suppose I am thinking that I know arithmetic pretty well and I'll do everything in arithmetic and will leave out certain portions of, say, geometry, maybe the question of triangles which came in CAT was easy. I'll still be able to do the profit and loss question, but it will take me more time. And time is score in CAT examination. In a way, we say time is money, but in CAT, time is percentile. So that is very important, is what I feel. So yeah, that's pretty much on my profile and the percentiles of CAT 23.
Like you mentioned, you have come a long way when it comes to LRDI from 2022 to 2023, right? And also you are debunking one of the major myths कि engineers का maths ज़्यादा अच्छा होता है, quant ज़्यादा अच्छा होता है. They perform very well, but pretty well when compared to LRDI and VARC, right? In quant.
Yeah.
So you are also debunking that myth by saying that your scale score was kind of the lowest
in quants.
In quant.
So firstly, जो ये mainly misconception या misconception जो भी है कि engineers may be better at maths and non-engineers may be better at VRC or something like that. Not specifically non-engineers, maybe from humanities or some backgrounds like that. So firstly, we never know, someone might have had a very good storybook reading habit in his childhood. He can be an engineer and still can have a very good hold over the VARC section. Personally, coming to my case, as you said that I had a very big improvement in the LRDI section. So I think that was because of the approach I took in before CAT 23 by focusing mostly on the sectional mocks. So because in LRDI I was very clear, I knew I can't do three sets. I was in most of the mocks, I was not being able to do 3 sets as well. Even if I was trying to do, one was going wrong, resulting in negative markings. And 4 sets though was dur ki baat. So I was very clear, I'll have to do 2 sets and the 2 sets correctly. That's what I did in the exam as well. So when you reach that kind of a situation where you are very clear on what you are actually planning to do in LRDI, so you have 40 minutes in the section. So you can have basically 20 minutes to each question. So how I did was, I would first go through the 4 questions of the paper, find out which 2 I would attempt. So that will take me around 2 to 3 minutes, and still I have around 18 to 19 minutes per question left, which I think is enough if you are well versed through the topics on which those questions have come from. So for that, practicing a lot of questions, different varieties which was available in the ABC batch course, daily classes as well, or maybe following a sectional mock approach, because the time management is really important in this section as well. So that was the approach I think which helped me in LRDI. Coming to the second point also, that VARC is whether it's about engineers or non-engineers. So I think the main point in VARC is that is the opening section of the CAT examination. And suppose if I have a very good preparation of LRDI or quants, but I understand, because as an aspirant will understand after his section that whether he has messed up or not. And if I don't get that confidence after the first 40 minutes of VARC, maybe despite having a very good preparation, I can mess up the other 2 sections as well. So VARC is very critical as a section, being the opening ceremony of the exam D-Day kind of. So it is very important to balance all the 3 sections. We cannot give focus, even if I am strong in one section, while I will try to make it stronger, the weak sections is a must focus for each aspirant, because all the sections, as we all know, that have a sectional cutoff,
right,
which if we may fall short by even a percentile can result in drastic changes of calls and circumstances prevailing out of that.
Right. So what do you think is a smarter approach to CAT, like maximizing your attempts or or solving questions with more accuracy?
So I'll say section specific. In VARC, I feel maximizing the attempts is important, because I'll give just my score itself. So I got at 38, I got around 98.92 percentile. So basically, which means that there are 3 correct in each, 3 marks for each correct questions, right? So approximately I had 13 questions correct. But I'll tell you, I actually attempted around 20 questions maybe. So there were mistakes as well. So in VARC, since it's a subjective kind of thing, and in RCs, at least in my case, many RCs, I felt I have done 4 questions correct, but in the results it was found out that 3 were correct, 1 was wrong. Because it's a kind of subjective thing, and it may not be the easiest for everyone to do that perfectly. So in VARC, I think maximizing the attempt is important. Of course, if you can improve the accuracy, that's why in this section, we often have a lot of people who score even 50 plus.
Right.
Unfortunately, I was not one of them, but there are people we know that who have scored 50 plus in this section, and maybe in some cases, many of them had probably a low LRDI, because of which the overall score got hampered. So as I said, balancing is important in all sections. But then again, coming to LRDI, my individual strategy was 2 questions with 100% accuracy. That was my strategy. If you are fast at understanding which LRDI sets you will solve, maybe you can go ahead with 3, or if you are even better, all the 4 sets which may come up if the paper pattern remains same, considering that. In that case, you can, even if you end up at 70% or 80% accuracy, you will still have a similar scaled score. But if most candidates, I think, are not able to solve 3 out of 4 sets, at least under exam pressure. So I feel in LRDI, accuracy is the most important thing. For me, it was 2 sets, 100% accuracy. That is what I was trying to achieve in the mocks as well.
Right.
Coming to quants, Now then it depends whether quants is your strong zone or your weak zone. If quants is your weak zone, your main focus, so in CAT, if we know, suppose that VARC is my very strong section and LRDI is my okay section, and suppose quants is a very weak section, if I am considering that kind of a scenario. So for the last many years, last 2-3 years specifically, we have seen the score at which a candidate gets 99 percentile is actually reducing. If I am not wrong, in 2022 CAT, people who had scored around 90 or 95 were 90 to 92 was the score of 99 percentile. In this CAT, people at 81 or 82 most probably had 99 percentile. I'm not exactly sure on that number, but it had definitely reduced. There is no doubt on that. So you can have an understanding, if you consider the last CAT's 99 percentile as the basis, you can have an understanding how much overall score you want to have. Now, if you know VARC is your strong section, and you, after giving the VARC section, understand also that I will get a good VARC score, it's better that because quants is the last section, and if you have understand already the 2 sections have gone pretty well, now is your time to maximize the score. It's better that I'll do 8 questions with 100% accuracy and score a 24, and in LRDI section a 24 marks will fetch me around something like 98.5 plus percentile. But if you are suppose very good in quants and your solving speed is very fast, then you may, because I know many of my friends, because I am from an engineering college, so most of my co-aspirants were engineers. So I know people who were able, we have 22 questions in quants, so I know people who are able to attempt 16, 17, 18, and they end up with 12 to 13 correct. So 12 to 13 correct means basically against 12 is 36, and you lose out the 7 questions which you make wrong. Right. So both of them end somewhere at around 27 to 28. Both the guy attempting 9 questions and the one attempting 16 questions. So again, it depends that which way. It shouldn't be ever that you attempt more questions and in the process accuracy is lost and you lose the score. So accuracy is extremely important. I'll put accuracy first always, considering all the sections as well. But if you consider section wise, VARC, maximizing attempts, the other 2 sections, accuracy is of utmost importance, irrespective of candidate profile.
Right. And so moving on with the new question, how did you come across iQuanta?
So I came across iQuanta on my Facebook feed when I was in my college 4th year. But I had also seen about iQuanta on Quora when I started searching of CAT institutes. I felt that I'll be going into a job because I already had converted a PPO in 2019, and I knew I'll be joining my job from July 2020, and even if I had to give CAT 20, which I didn't at the end, I needed an online source of preparation because an offline class would not have been feasible for me. So that's how I came across iQuanta, through both social media as well as Quora, where I got some positive reviews, and then I joined the class. I saw that it's a Facebook event-based classes, and then we had our personal dashboards as well, where we can access the resources whenever we want. I felt that it is very much suitable to the kind of institution I am looking forward, and I felt this was a perfect fit, especially for working aspirants and also college students, because for working aspirants, many of the aspirants might not be able to attend the live classes regularly, as a result of which offline class becomes almost impossible, because once you miss, you can't have the recorded lecture of the professor. In an online class, that is the biggest advantage, which is why that was actually the first reason I decided that I'll go ahead with iQuanta for my preparation, and I followed that for the last 2 years as well, and I am personally very happy with the results.
So Rishav, how much time exactly did you take to prepare for CAT?
So I'll tell the study schedule I followed. So as a working aspirant, this year, because I had covered the concepts last year as well. So last year I used to put around 2 hours during the weekdays and 4 during the weekends. I had a working Saturday as well on the 1st and 4th Saturdays. So I kind of balance between 4 hours on weekends and 2 hours in the weekdays. And towards the end of the exam, mocks is what is all important. So I focused, from 2022 I focused more on full length mocks. In 2023 I started my preparation in full phase from May. I was not like I didn't prepare anything till April, but from May onwards, it was like 2.5 to 3 hours per day on the weekdays, irrespective of which time I came back from office. I tried to balance. Maybe some days people can always take an exception and cover up maybe in the weekends.
Definitely.
So weekends we should put around 4 to 5 hours if we are planning for a serious, and in my case it was a last attempt at, not maybe the last attempt, but the last attempt to get a good B school, because now after this I would have been on the wrong side of the work experience. Currently I am at 38 months. Okay, so that was very important, and so I balanced it in that particular way, and I also ensured that there is equal balance between the sections. So I personally had a weak LRDI. I had a weakness in LRDI, so I focused a lot on that section by mostly solving different kinds of questions as possible. The past CAT papers are really helpful. It is all uploaded in the iQuanta page as well, and you can anytime access the dashboard for that. Apart from that, we have all the different types of concept videos uploaded. So whenever suppose you want to practice something from, let's say, games and tournaments, you can just watch that kind of concept video once, and then followed by that you can solve maybe 3-4 good sets, different types. That's something I feel how a candidate can manage time, because for working aspirant, if you are in a gap year, you have a lot of pressure on you as well.
Right.
Because it's not like a candidate who has left his job and is in a gap year has a very beautiful time preparing, because everyone goes through their own pressures. For working aspirants, it is very difficult to manage between the work timing and the CAT preparation time. But if someone is serious about belling the CAT, it is very important that they have to manage it. That is, I feel, the biggest key to cracking the exam.
Right. So, like you mentioned, you have been a student since last 2 years here at iQuanta.
Yes.
So, like we provide, हमारा काफी ज़्यादा rigorous होता है curriculum, as you know, कि पहले conceptual videos हैं, there are live classes, there are application classes, then topic wise assignments, daily practice session. तो ये सारी चीजें आप cover कर पाते थे daily basis पे, या फिर कुछ ही कर पाते थे?
Honestly speaking, daily basis पे it was not possible for me all the time, and I tried to the best extent possible. In the weekdays I did try to do 2 to 3 hours. So sometimes I was able to do, but sometimes what also happened was in the 2 hours I can put in the weekdays, I would generally prefer to do something revising on an area which is very weak for me. For example, like let's say if someone is very weak in circular arrangements, he can put in those 2 hours on that rather than revising a concept he has already done last year, because I was a repeater candidate.
Right.
So grasping the concepts afresh was not the challenge this year. It was more about ensuring the right strategy is in place, because concept learning also happened in 22 and in 23, but the strategy, I think, and the process I followed was the biggest difference. So it may not be possible for a candidate to do the classes exactly on the day, but if you are a first time aspirant, I personally think it is important, because doing the questions and solving the questions in the flow of the class is also something which is a learning experience. It puts some amount of pressure. Doing it at the comfort of home is a different thing.
Right.
So that is also one particular experience at least a first time attempter should not miss on. But if you are a repeat candidate, you can take that kind of freedom, but not at the cost that you will not do that class at all.
Yeah.
You have to cover all the concepts, because you never know which part of the syllabus may the easy question come from. Maybe the best prepared part gives out such a hard question that you can't even attempt that.
Right. So, like, what was your ideal day like as a CAT aspirant?
My ideal day for the last 1.5 years, because I'll just also consider a 22-23 as a part of the same process. So I was in sales and marketing. So my work hours were sometimes very long, sometimes it was short. It was a KRA based job. So I just always tried to ensure that I take out 2 hours on the weekdays, but those 2 hours will be of rigorous practice and learning. And on the weekends, I'll go ahead with these 4 to 5 hours, if towards the end 6 hours maybe. And also by August or September, once a candidate completes, iQuanta also completes most of its syllabus, even if you're a batch 2 candidate by August. So because I did it in 2022. So thereafter the focus should be on mocks. In VARC and LRDI, maybe on the sectional mocks. If you are attempting for the first time, because the overall time management is important, because suppose you are giving only sectional mocks, you have a habit of solving quants in 40 minutes. But during the exam, those 40 minutes of quants come after a rigorous 80 minutes of VARC and LRDI. So learning that flow is equally important. So VARC, I used to always focus on sectional mocks, because in the exam also that section will come at first. So anyway, it's same. Giving a sectional mock and a full length mock, only from the perspective of VRC was same for me. LRDI also, I did sectionals because I felt managing only the time of LRDI was important, and I had a very personal strategy, as I said, 2 sets at 100% accuracy. But for the quant section, it is important that we have the habit of solving the quant section well after 2 rigorous sections. For that, full length mocks are also extremely important, and I personally give the mocks all across the year. Towards the beginning it was 2 mocks a month, and towards the end I increased it to 3 to 4 full length mocks for the last 2 months only. I'm saying I gave at max a total of maybe 15 to 17 full length mocks. My focus was more on sectional mocks because of a personal preference. Again, it may be an individual strategy a candidate can decide, but I personally felt that was more helpful for me.
So while you were preparing, like from the very scratch, doubts आते होंगे काफी सारे, है ना? तो उन doubts के resolution के लिए आप क्या करते थे? आपकी क्या strategy रहती थी जहाँ पे आपको doubts आता था?
Specifically, I had more doubts in the sometimes, because VRC is a very subjective section. I had thought in all the logical way and concluded that the option, probably the third option is correct, but the answer actually is the second option. So I would always write to the mentor, and mentors do reply in the Facebook. Even if you personally message them, mentors do reply here, and maybe in the worst of cases after 24 hours. I have at least always got replies from the mentors. That is, I think, because clarification of doubts is one of the core purposes of joining an institute. Otherwise, we can also prepare from books and materials available everywhere. So that structured approach is important, and that is what I did. I always used to write to mentors. Apart from that, if suppose I personally feel that I'm having a weakness in this type of problem, for example, let's say in compound interest, there are various types of problems in compound interest. Maybe in some cases you have to find the principal, sometimes the rate of interest. Maybe I'm getting some extra difficulty in the second time. I'll do some more problems, maybe from any practice book, or maybe any iQuanta older classes also which may have happened. I'll do that, and then I'll ensure to move on to the new section only after completely clearing my mind that I have understood that concept, because otherwise it is in a way cheating on yourself only.
Yeah, definitely. And like distractions भी रहे होंगे, कुछ doubts आते ही तो distractions भी होते होंगे. Distractions, any kind of you would like to mention?
So I personally like to travel. I was staying in Pune, that too in Hinjewari, which is 50 kilometers only from Lonavala. I wanted to travel there on the weekends, and I did that. It's not like I'll not say that I only studied, because I was in a sales and marketing job. So anyway, 8 hours to 10 hours of my day was the job. Apart from that, I traveled to places near Pune, Lavasa, Lonavala, Mulshi, Tamini Ghats, everywhere. But it is important that you take your attempt seriously, because refreshment is important. I'll not say distractions, because it is a kind of refreshment as well. And one thing maybe some candidates can do is that maybe when they are doing the classes, the other online social media accounts can be shut down. If the Instagram notifications keep on coming, you have a natural inherent tendency to check those things as well. So maybe someone can consider that as a distraction. So that is something they can work upon. But overall, I think I'll rather not put them as distractions, because refreshing the mind is
taking a break sometimes becomes important.
Yes, it is important. Maybe after, suppose you had a very bad mock, maybe immediately you don't get the mental situation to start again going further. Maybe you take an hour of break, or maybe that day you take off. Only if it is at the initial phase of the preparation. Towards the end, we don't have so much time for that.
So, as you all know, Rishav was also a part of our IIM ABC batch. So, Rishav, how would you rate the questions, the level of questions and the quality of them?
So, firstly, I will just like to give a situation. So, I think the ABC batch in my case was very useful because I had all the ABC calls. I was able to convert A, and so it was also what the ABC batch I think specifically had better was we had a daily practice on all the three areas,
right.
VARC, LRDI and quants. And in quants we used to have approximately 10 to 12 questions in each class. In LRDI it was mostly 3 to 4, and in VARC we had a combination of RCs, sometimes 3-4 RCs, sometimes a mix of VA and RC. So it is like you constantly keep on practicing those things, and especially if you are a repeater candidate. Suppose if you are a repeater candidate, this batch can be of real help because the question qualities are good. You have some basic idea of the concepts you have already learned. So it's time to practice and implement it,
right.
and formulate a strategy based on that. Suppose you are doing one part really well, you maybe focus on the other parts, which, like say in quants, you are doing the geometry very well, but PNC is your weak section. You focus more on that. The PNC questions are also there. The PNC classes were also happening, and every doubt in iQuanta has been cleared mostly in the comment section itself.
Right.
Messaging to the mentors was actually a later stage. Mostly the doubts are cleared in the comment section itself. So that is a very good thing I must appreciate about the course curriculum.
Right. Thank you so much for that. So now moving on to taking mock tests, which is also
Yes.
a very important part of your CAT preparation. You need to gauge where you stand, where you currently stand with your preparation and everything. So, aapke, like throughout all the mocks that you took, so what was your performance trajectory?
So 2022, I remember even scoring an overall score of 12 out of 198 in ICAT. So, but this year I was repeating, so I had the basic concepts clear. So I started once again at around somewhere like 50 to 55 raw score. And as we know in the CAT examination, approximately 76 to 84 is the score required for 99 percentile. And that is the aim of most of the candidates. That's why I'm specifically mentioning this score. However, I'll be very honest, if you are aiming ABC and if you want to have a good shot at it, you should aim for 99.5, 99.6 plus actually. 99
Right.
percentile is okay for Shillong or a cap calls or maybe even Lucknow and Indore, but if you want ABC, 99.6 plus is necessary even for getting the call. Especially if you don't have academic or other diversity factors, that is even more important because these are facts and figures of the CAT examination. Apart from that, what I feel is my mocks, coming to personally my mocks, the score improved in August, September to 60s, and it was not like always continuously improving. Sometimes it will fall, sometimes it will go up, but the average came up a bit higher. And by the time of the CAT exam, I remember even giving a mock where I scored 102, but my original score in the exam was lower than that.
Yeah.
So we never know actually. Maybe that mock level was also easier than the other one. So every questions in the mocks are different, and maybe one mock is
Definitely,
slightly,
like the entire mock taking process is a journey.
or maybe the questions were
Yeah.
of the same level, but maybe it was asked from those sections where those parts of the syllabus which I was more comfortable with.
Yeah. Rishav, thank you so much for giving us the time. Thank you so much for your insights, the values that you gave here to the students. And now, just in order to congratulate you, there is a small gesture that we would
Thanks.
like to do. This is for you.
No, thanks a lot. Thank you also for calling me for the interview.
Yeah.
It was a really nice journey with iQuanta for the last 2 years. And I can just tell every student that focus on the classroom structure and the process of preparation. As I said, go ahead with the mocks way before. Don't keep it for the exact end, and that is all from my side.
Thank you so much for coming, Rishav.
Thanks a lot.